Hidden in between the glitz and glam of Indonesia's capital is the winding maze that Ronnie Puluan calls the real Jakarta.
I want to see people meet people, the other culture, to see the other cultures.
He runs Jakarta's hidden tours, bringing foreigners into the city's slums. Daniel and his wife live in Jakarta and have visited the slums before. It's their Australian friend's first trip to Indonesia. I asked them why they decided to bring their guests here.
I think Jakarta is a city of contrasts. There's a lot of shopping malls and glitzy stuff, but there's also a lot of normal people.
The tour initially takes them into a couple cramped and sweltering soybean cake and tofu factories, a first for Phil and Carrie.
It's been a pretty big eye-opener. This is the first time I've left Australia, so yeah, it's completely different.
It feels to me like the real Jakarta, sort of that, what drives it. To see that is so much more valuable than, coming and lying on a beach,
The tour costs around $34 per person. Ronnie says he takes half for himself and his NGO, Enter Kultur, and half goes back to the community.
This is the real traditional market.
Rokaya, a fish seller, says she wishes she spoke English. I love seeing the foreigners. They are handsome and rich, she jokes. Critics say this direct cash-in-hand approach is counterproductive, demeaning and exploiting the poor. Ronnie argues that's absolutely not the case.
We start here, for example, to try to make microfinance, and I try to make a pushcart library for the children. Yeah.
And that it's about educating foreigners about the country's real issues. 80-year-old Indarjo has lived along Jakarta's railroad tracks for 5 decades. I treat them as my guests, he explains. I believe that they would do the same for me.
What's it like for you guys to hear that someone's been living like this for 50 years?
I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
We meet Martona, who came to Jakarta decades ago. She sells the leftover produce from the market. She showed us her tent. There's nothing inside, barely a bed. It's a sobering but educational look at Indonesia, where some 40 million people live below the poverty line.
It's hard to sort of see something like this and then go home to, normal life.
Ronnie hopes that creating awareness through these tours will bring about more help for his country's poor. Arwa Damon, CNN, Jakarta.